Now let's rise for the national anthem.
Edodecides 2012. A very warm welcome to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ancient and incredibly royal city of Benin, the Edo State capital, venue of the governorship election debates 2012. Now, this debate is organized by the Nigerian Election Debates Group, that's the NEDG. This is a coalition of civil society groups, the media, professional bodies, women groups, and the youth. My name is Lara Oweyawise. Welcome. At this moment, I'd like to invite the chairman of the Nigerian Election Debates Group to come give his opening remarks. Aremo Taiwo Alimi to come give his opening remarks.
With all respect, good afternoon. And from the Flamingo Hall of Best Western Hotel, Benin, I welcome you to the second day of the 2012 governorship and deputy governorship debates in Edo State, organized by the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG. My name is Taiwo Alimi. The debates are designed to present to the Edo State and Nigerian electorate an opportunity to have first-hand information on the plans of governorship candidates. The debate today will feature the governorship candidates unfolding their plans for Edo State and strategies of implementation before a radio, television, live audience. Governorship candidates will speak on a number of identified areas germane to state development and the sustenance of democracy in Nigeria and Edo State in particular. The governorship candidates program by NEDG is aimed at educating the electorate on issues in the July 14, 2012 elections in Edo State and making debates a critical component of the democratic and electoral process in Nigeria and to promote political tolerance and constructive dialogue. Once again, I welcome you to the 2012 NEDG governorship debate in Edo State. I now proceed to hand over the envelopes containing the questions to the moderator and panelists, which they are seeing for the first time. Thank you most sincerely.
Chairman.
Thank you very much, Aremo Taiwo Alimi. Ladies and gentlemen, the Edo State Governorship Debates Program is supported by the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, that's BON, the National Orientation Agency, that's NOA, the United Nations Development Program, and the IRI. Now let us quickly acquaint you with the details and rules of these debates tonight. There are 7 political parties here participating. We have relied strictly on the approved list of candidates issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The debate series shall run for 3 days with one session for the deputy governorship candidate, which held yesterday, the 26th of June, and 2 sessions for the governorship debates, holding today, the 27th of June, and the final round on the 5th of July, 2012. The rules are the same for every session. Now, each candidate is allowed 3 minutes for opening statements. Questions are limited to the broad areas already disclosed to the candidates. Each candidate has 3 minutes to answer a question. There shall be 2 minutes allowed the other candidates for a reaction. The moderator is allowed follow-up questions based on issues raised in the answers. Now, profane language is strictly not allowed. Direct attacks on candidates' personality are prohibited. Highest sense of decency and decorum must be maintained in the course of the debate. Candidates are allowed 2 minutes each for their closing statements. The time period allowed for questions to be answered must be strictly adhered to. For timing, the green light will indicate start. The amber is a warning that only 30 seconds are left, while the red light indicates stop. When the candidates arrive at the rostrum, they will have a handshake and embrace one another, and will do same at the end of the debate. I have 2 panelists with me tonight. To my left is
Professor Austin Asagba, immediate past Dean of Arts, University of Benin.
And to my right is
Phil Obano, Nigerian Television Authority.
We also have our timekeeper in the person of Cyril Idebama. Now to the audience. The audience is not allowed to interrupt, applaud, cheer, yell, or say anything while the debate is on. We now invite the candidates to the rostrum. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have 7 political parties here tonight, and we'll go ahead and call them out one by one. We'll start with the Action Congress. We arrange them in an alphabetical order. We'll start with the candidate of the Action Congress of Nigeria, that's the ACN, Comrade Adams Oshomale of the Action Congress of Nigeria. Comrade Adams Oshomale of the Action Congress of Nigeria. Comrade Adams Oshomale of the Action Congress of Nigeria. Next is a candidate of the All Nigeria People's Party, that's the ANPP, Chief Solomon Edebi. Chief Solomon Edebi, the candidate of the All Nigeria People's Party, that's the ANPP. Spirit. We have Elder Roland Izebua of the Congress for Progressive Change, that's the CPC. Elder Roland Izebua, the candidate for the Congress for Progressive Change, the CPC. Elder Roland Izebua, the candidate for the CPC. The candidate for the CPC is not here. May I declare his stand vacant? Can we have an usher place the vacant sign on his podium? Thank you. The next candidate is the candidate for the Labour Party, Mr. Andrew Igwemo. The Labour Party, Mr. Andrew Igwemo. The Labour Party, Mr. Andrew Igwemo. Mr. Andrew Igwemo is not here as well. May I declare his stand vacant as well? Can we please have the vacant sign placed there? Thank you. We have Mr. Paul Onwueze of the National Congress Party, that's the NCP. Mr. Paul Onwueze of the National Congress Party, NCP. Mr. Paul Onwueze, National Conscience Party, I beg your pardon, NCP. He's also not here. I'd like to declare his stand vacant. Let's have the vacant sign there. Thank you. Major General Charles Iriave, retired, of the People's Democratic Party, that's the PDP. Major General Charles Iriave, retired, of the People's Democratic Party. Major General Charles Iriave, retired, of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Finally, we have Prince Frank Ukonga of the Social Democratic Mega Party, SDMP. Prince Frank Ukonga of the Social Democratic Mega Party, SDMP. Prince Frank Ukonga of the Social Democratic Mega Party, SDMP. The audience is not allowed to talk, to jeer, to cheer, or applaud. Thank you very much. To the candidates, we're going to take your opening remarks now, and that will be in the form of an answer to my first question. And you have three minutes to do that. Now, the first question is, Please tell the people of Edo State why they should vote for you and exactly what changes you will bring to their lives if elected governor of the state. I start with the candidate of the Action Congress of Nigeria, Comrade Adams Oshomale.
Well, thank you. First, we recall that in 2007, virtually everybody in Edo State had given up. The state was completely run down. Our people had been persuaded to accept that the state was not viable. But I argued then, and as I still do believe, that what was missing was the correct right of leadership, one that appreciates that the essence of governance is public welfare, and that one that has the discipline to creatively manage the resources of state, reorder the priorities, and start to rebuild the state. 3.5 years down the road, we can say we have laid solid foundation in a number of critical areas of infrastructure, including social infrastructure. We make enormous investment in roads, both within the city. We carry out massive urban renewal. We have dealt decisively with the problem of flooding and erosion, particularly in Benin City. We have reconnected rural roads to reintegrate them to the economy of the state. And we have reinvented public education to give opportunity to our young ones. I think looking at what we have done so far, it is only right that we seek mandate to build on what we have already started. We are the first to admit that as much as we can enumerate what we have achieved in 3.5 years, what is yet to be done is still far much more than what we've done in 3.5 years. In any event, nobody expects that you can fix a state that was run down over a period of, God knows, after the Gubernatorial era. I think Nigerians are unanimous that Edo State has not benefited from good governance. So we have laid solid foundation on which we believe we can build on in the second term.
Thank you very much, Comrade Adams Oshomale. You kept to time. I've been reliably informed that 2 of our candidates just walked in. I'd like to call on Elder Roland Izebua of the Congress for Progressive Change. And while he's coming up, may I ask the usher to please take the vacant sign away from his stand. Elder Roland Izebua, the candidate for the Congress for Progressive Change. And I've also been informed that Mr. Paul Onumwese, the candidate for the National Congress Party, is here as well. National Conscience Party. Chief Solomon Edebi, the same question goes to you. Do you want me to read it out again?
No, I think I still remember.
Your time starts now, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I would like to take the people of Edo State back to 1991 when Edo State was created. And I would like to bring your mind back to all the things we inherited from the state called Bendel. We got our sovereignty. We got our independent state. 21 years back, while I prepared to take upon this mantle of responsibility to lead the state, I took a tour around the 18 local governments, and I looked back and saw with pain how all the things we inherited in 21 years back have gone into demise. I could take it back from the north to look at how Okular Cement Factory is gone, Ilushi Fab, Agbadewaraka Farms, Ewu Flour Mills, Bender Brewery is in trouble. Last year, Edo Line got the hammer. Bendel Pharmaceuticals, Bendel Printing Press, Bendel Etcho Printing Press, and a lot of others, which I cannot enumerate now. I decided to look at the X-ray. And taking a look at 13 years of democracy, I found out that major part of these 13 years have been wasted. I would not want to continue without appreciating the work that has been done in the last 3.5 years by the current governor. The simple reason is because he gave life to democracy. He made people to know that at least they're dividend of democracy. But true to it, I'm sure he did his best in his area of comfort. Having reviewed all that, and I know that Edo State needs something different. And what do they need different? We need to fill in the missing link. And this missing link is what we have come to represent. There's a very large vacuum and a very strong decay in the human capacity, in the human capital development. I've drawn a graph, and I've watched the graph over the last 21 years, and comparing today, it is sad to note that the graph of human capital development is going below the baseline. And for me, we are setting a keg of gunpowder for Edo State. And if that is not redressed, there is going to be a very serious trouble tomorrow. That is why I come. I come to fill in this gap. I come to fill in this missing link. I come to give life to the people who've lost their lives. I come to rekindle the hope that people have lost. I come to rebuild the human capacity that we do not have. And I'm sure you know the process of building human capacity, you need to build infrastructure. It all goes in pari passu. We will build industries by reviving the dead industry at the start. Thank you.
I'm afraid your time is up. The candidates that just walked in, Elder Roland Izebua and Mr. Paul Orunwese, one of the rules of this debate that's when you come up here, you shake every other candidate, and you came while that had been done. So required to do that quickly before we go on. Please go around and shake. Mr. Roland Izebua. The audience is not allowed to cheer, to applaud. The audience is expected to be quiet. Thank you. Now, Elder Roland, you...
My comrades.
The audience is not allowed to make any comment in the course of this debate. Audience, please. Audience, please. Elder Roland, we asked the question before you came in, and that is the fact that tell us why the people of Edo State should vote for you, and what exactly are the changes you will bring to their lives if elected governor of the state. You have 3 minutes to respond. The light there signals you, the amber tells you to round off, and then the bell tells you your time is up. Your time starts now.
My good people of Edo State, we of the CPC believe that sovereignty belongs to you. We hope to lead this governance of the state not by rigging or violence, but through your legitimate votes for us come July 14, 2012. Our purpose in governance is for all of us to have better life, greater happiness and security of life and property. Ours shall be people-oriented governance, and we will achieve this by mobilizing all to partake fully in agenda setting and definition of priorities. While we ensure accountability, equity, and fairness among all stakeholders, we shall meet your legitimate demands and expectations in all areas of life. One major input CPC needs to put in, which we hope will do effectively, is to eradicate corruption. We believe that corruption is the bane of this society, is the bane of Edo State. We shall reestablish the culture of honesty and selfless service, ensure that this is imbibed and internalized by the political class and the civil service through socio-cultural reorientation at all levels. Our team shall observe constitutional limit on government. CPC in government shall improve on the prevailing system of accounting and audit practiced by government to discourage financial rascality and fraud. We promise to reconcile and balance the interests of all stakeholders. Please, ladies and gentlemen, vote for CPC to get the best.
Excuse me, Elder Roland, are you reading a speech to us? Are you reading a speech to us?
It is not a speech.
All right.
It's not a speech.
All right.
It is the ideology of the party.
All right.
Why we need to come to governance. That is what I have.
All right.
Yes.
The audience is not allowed to applaud, to cheer, to jeer in the course of this debate. I'm sure you're done.
Yeah, I'm true.
Thank you, Elder Roland. To the candidates, if you're not talking, you may want to sit if you feel up to it. If you're not talking. Mr. Paul Orunwese, can we please get the technical people to get a microphone for Mr. Paul Orunwese? But there's a microphone in front of you. Is it not working? Can you please speak into it?
Hello.
Technical team. Please speak again. Mr. Paul, please speak again into the microphone.
Hello.
Just a minute.
Hello. Hello.
All right. All right. Are you ready to take the answer now? Your time starts now.
I didn't hear your question.
Okay. The question is, why should the people of Edo State vote for you? And what exactly are the changes you bring about in their lives if elected governor of Edo State?
My good people of Edo State, I've come here, see me, my heart is empty. So I'm going to give you my heart. But I'm going to tell you all that the NCP has in stock for Edo State. From our 10-point program, designed by our mentor, the Chief Power Himi, going to take care of shelter, food, electricity, and all that make life worth living. Our first priority is going to be security. Because now we sleep with one of our eyes open. Like I said the other day when I was AIT, NCP government is going to introduce a new dimension to securing the life and property of everybody in Edo State. First and foremost, I'm going to organize a town hall meeting in every nook and crannies of Edo State. We're going to establish vigilante groups at the village level, at urban level. Whoever is a thief, whoever is a kidnapper, live among us. So if we go to the grassroots and enlighten the masses on the importance of vigilante groups, then it will be a turnaround security of lives and property in Edo State. How are we going to do it? In the days of old of our forefathers, we call it Old Day in Benin, that is Akor Day. When men and women are going to the farm, there are few men left at home to keep watch of the property of everybody. Even sometimes women who is giving birth to babies, because we don't have hospitals in those days. The men rush and help the women. So now, if we establish this, go to bring the police in and all that security agencies. So by the time we have all these things on ground, it's not just one special place. Go to.
I'm afraid your time is up, Elder Paul. Major General Charles Iriave, retired. Why should the people of Edo State vote for you, and what new thing are you bringing to the table?
Panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to thank you for this opportunity to communicate with my people of Edo State. I also want to apologize for the absence of my deputy governor designate yesterday. He was held up. He's coming in from Edo North. Having said that, a critical look at Edo State since 1999, it's clear that our people in this state have not enjoyed the dividends of democracy. If you look at the weaknesses, you look at the threats, you discover that the high level of insecurity in the state can be directly proportional to the level of unemployment you find in Edo State today. Edo State is one of the 7 richest states in the country today, with a GDP of 11.8 billion and a population of 3.2 million people. Edo State has no relationship with poverty, but because we have had a problem of leadership, a gap in the correct application of our collective wealth and resources, and because there has been no challenge for a leadership height in Edo State, it's been so difficult for our people to enjoy the dividends of democracy. And that is why in 2007, when I was opportune to be a participant at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, these gaps were very, very apparent, especially compared to other states in the Federation. And I made up my mind that I was going to leave my job and come home to participate in politics and the democratization process which everybody is entitled to. And when you look at the various parties, PDP, with the present transformation process of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in health, in education, and even infrastructural development, PDP stands out. And that is why I decided to come in to salvage my people, to help them from this quagmire of leadership in Edo State. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. Prince Frank Ukonga, please. Your time starts now. You want to go through the question again? Why should the people of Edo State vote for you? And how do you plan to change their lives positively if elected governor of this state?
Thank you. My name is Prince Frank Onaive Ukonga. I am the gubernatorial candidate of SDMP in this election. I commend the organizers of this program in giving the whole process of election in Nigeria a new level of interaction. I commend Professor Atahiru Jegan, the president of the Nigerian Federation, in this same contest of organizing such a debate for the people to meet with their candidates. The government of SDMP, if elected into power, will have 12-point prerogatives for the Edo peace-loving people and progressive people. Number one of our programs is based on free education at all levels to whatever height any student of Edo State want to read. We shall give them free education, feed them free lunch, as exactly what Prince Rochas Okorocha, governor of Imo State, is doing. If Imo State can do it, we can do better in Edo State. Chief Abafemi Awolowo also did it in Western Region. The whole world said it was not possible, but he succeeded in doing it. He achieved it. It was a big success. Second point is that the health, because health is wealth, we shall give free health facilities to virtually everybody in the state through a proactive health insurance policy that will carry everybody along. In the context of agriculture, we are committed to an agricultural revolution, and we shall bring big farmers from all over the world to come and tap our resources here, and then we can export even goods to other countries of the world. Well, our policy is to industrialize Edo State. And there are two things paramount to industrialization of any nation, state, or polity in the entire universe. The first and primary objective is electricity, which has to boil down to generation of electric power. It is not the prerogative of the state in most cases to generate electric power, but we shall partner with the federal government and other world bodies to generate 10,000 megahertz of electric power in the first year of our administration. We shall, as a matter of fact, now generate what we call liquid steel as the second twin ship of industrialization. We shall form a rolling mill in Edo State, and it shall be a functional rolling mill.
I'm afraid your time is up. Thank you, candidates. Please let me quickly add that no candidate is allowed to read out a speech to us tonight. Your manifesto should be a part of you, and you just reel out what you want to do based on the questions we ask you. Thank you very much. I call on Professor Austin Asagba to ask the next question, one of the panelists tonight.
Thank you very much. Basically, I want to ask a question on power, and this is directed at Comrade Oshomele, please. Every promise to raise the effectiveness of the power sector in generation and distribution has failed so far. How will you specifically ensure adequate power generation and distribution to achieve steady, regular power supply in Edo State, especially through the development of alternative sources of energy?
Sorry, before you answer, you have two minutes now to answer this, and then the other candidates react to 2 minutes as well. Thank you.
Well, first you have to get the policies right. As things are now, the federal government is still a little confused about putting in place the right policy framework that will enable private initiative, including state governments, to generate and to distribute power. As we speak, there are a couple of states, even in the South, Rivers is an outstanding example. They've invested enormously in power generation, but still there is blackout in Port Harcourt because under the rules, they are not able to distribute the power that they generate until the federal government gets its policies right and decentralize the power sector. There is very little or nothing a state government can do. But the good news is that in Edo State, we are strategically located. There are a couple of companies that are already, as we speak, working on independent power projects, using entirely their own resources. We signed a PPP agreement with them. We provided them with land around the Olugbo area. We have the benefit of gas deposit, which they can take advantage of. But even as we are very hopeful that this will come on stream, because all the paperwork have been completed, the federal government has given the necessary approval they need to give, the issue remains. The federal government still maintain unfair control of power distribution. They still haven't got the policies right. They are still dealing with policy issues. Until those issues are resolved, any governor that promised you that he will deliver power is talking theory, because you do need to review the legal regime that regulates the distribution of power in Nigeria. What we can do, what we are doing right now, is to extend electricity to a number of communities, deliver transformers to a number of communities, upgrade them where it is possible. But whether in the end they get power depends on PHA.
Thank you.
Chief Solomon.
Thank you. I'm sure we may be aware that President Jonathan is doing his best to unbundle electricity supply business. And that allows the state and other individuals to take advantage of that and provide electricity to the people. As the governor of Edo State, I intend to take advantage of that. But I'd quickly like to draw your attention to the simple fact that when you produce more than 1 megawatt of power, you might need to supply it through the national grid, and that becomes an issue. So the principle of fragmentation can come in. And when we do come into office, what we plan to do is to exploit the process of hydroelectricity supply, generation, gas turbine, and of course we look equally at the windmill. There is abundant gas supply in Oben. And because as part of our program we want to site a fertilizer plant there, of course the fertilizer plant will go with a power plant. We intend to also provide power to the state from that fertilizer plant through the power plant that will serve the fertilizer plant. We are looking at exploring the hydro system. That hydro system could fragment the power supply, looking at casting dams, bringing the water together, look at the high turbulent area, and then provide water. Windmill is an option we haven't explored in Nigeria. In this part of the country, Edo State, we probably might look at the velocity of the wind and see also how we can supply power through wind. But one very important power supply measure that will serve the people, especially in the rural area, is the solar system. We intend to exploit the solar system extensively. It's doing wonderfully well. Thank you.
Elder Roland Zebua.
Yeah, thank you. Irrespective of the position of the law as to the position of the federal government concerning power distribution, CPC-led government wish to do a serious review study and plan on how independent power generation can be embarked upon by the government at Gelegele, given the resources there. And also given the resources at Oben, the gas resources at Oben. We feel that the resources there is enough to power whatever investments we are putting in at Oben for power generation. Outside that, we hope to encourage private initiative on power generation, given these two available resources in Edo State. But beyond all this, we feel that despite what Adam Shomole government have done, there are still a lot of communities that need electricity, especially in the rural areas. So CPC-led government will invest more on supply of the available resources that will give electricity to these areas that have no light at all now. So this is the position of CPC. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Paul Onwese.
We are going to NCP government in Edo State is going to initiate water and electricity projects at the same time to cover the nook and crannies of Edo State, especially in the rural areas. With all respect to the comrade governor, there's still a lot to be done regarding electricity in this state. So when NCP takes over the mantle of leadership of this state come July 14, we're going to put more effort to invest on electricity supply, especially in the rural areas. Then water supply, because if you are a villager, you come from the farm, you have water to bathe. Then you have
audience,
you watch
please.
television,
Audience,
and all these things.
please.
You'll be satisfied. The idea of I'm going to town, one of the main reasons they run to town is lack of electricity and water in the rural areas. If we provide this, it will stem the movement of the youth and others moving to urban areas, compounding the problem we already have. So we are going to bring in foreign partners, though it is not a prerogative of the state government to provide electricity.
Mr. Paul Orumese, you said you're going to put more effort. The question actually is that every promise of putting more effort in the past has failed.
Yes.
What new thing can you do? What new thing are you going to tell me as an indigene of Edo State to make me vote for you in this area of power generation? More effort. What is the more effort?
Like I said, we are going to emphasize or put emphasis on going to the rural areas first, because in the urban areas they already had all these things. So our emphasis will be for the rural areas. So it won't be, we cannot rule it out. Those areas in urban areas that already have electricity, we try as much as possible to provide them too. Like I said, we are going to partner with some foreign companies like Siemens that are world renowned, General Electric. Then we're also going to bring in.
Audience, please. Audience. The audience is not allowed to talk. The audience is not allowed to talk in the course of this debate. Thank you.
We're going to bring in a private partnership. Then by doing this, we're going to be able to bring.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank you very much. Major General Charles Ariabere, retired, please. Your answer. Your time starts now.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will give the power issue in Nigeria two legs. One, generation, and two, distribution. The generation, we have the electricity issue, the power situation we have today. The country is generating below 5,000 power capacity, and the distribution is virtually to all part of the country. Now the issue is that there are other alternative power generation capacity opportunities available in the country. We have gas, and Nigeria is already partnering with GE to ensure that this private partnership is concluded. And I'm sure very soon there is the hope and prayer that the generation level will double. But the state has its own opportunity. You have the waste profile in Edo State today. And that is waste to wealth, waste to power is available. You have the wind. All this can be exploited to make sure that we generate more and also send to the grid for distribution. River State is doing it. Plateau is doing it through PESCO. And the second leg is that of generation. A situation where the little that is brought to Edo State, that is distributed to Edo State today, is not available in the rural areas. It's not available in the various villages because of the availability of transformers. Transformer has become a political issue where if there is a village that is not...
I'm afraid your time is up. Prince Frank Ukonga.
Please, what's the question, please?
Excuse me?
The question.
The question.
Repeat it. The question is this.
Audience, please.
Every promise to raise the effectiveness of the power sector in generation and distribution has failed so far. We are saying, how will you specifically ensure adequate power generation and distribution to achieve steady, regular, power supply in Edo State, especially...
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. The issue of power generation, as it concerns Nigeria, is not a special issue of Edo State indigenes. So it is a national issue and it's a national problem. So it has to be more of a collective responsibility. And we generate in Nigeria for now less than 4,000 megahertz of electricity, whereas our economy, our industries need close to 25,000 megahertz of electricity. And the only way to do that is to go nuclear. So I will go into partnership with other states to assist and come into partnership with the federal government so that we can have a nuclear power plant in Nigeria. It will be cheaper to maintain and cheaper to generate electricity through nuclear power reactors. I read extensively in this line of direction of atomic and nuclear physics, so I am already part of a group when I was abroad that was privately trying to assist the Nigerian community to have access to nuclear technology and nuclear power. This is the opportunity. When I become the governor of Edo State, I will manifest such a great concept whereby Edo State will be the first state that will be able to assist and partner the federal government in the generation of electricity through nuclear power plants. But I will click it as soon as I get in, I will solve the power problem by generating 1,000 megahertz of electricity through thermal electrification. Thermal, I will call the Ukrainian government, which I have already in partnership, in contact with, to come and form 2 thermal power plants for us at generating 400 megahertz. That would be 800 plus another one of 200 megahertz. Thank you.
Thank you, SDMP. Phil Obono, my panelist on my right hand, will ask the next question.
Thank you very much. I want to direct this question to the ANPP governorship candidate, Chief Solomon Edebiri. Unemployment is a very worrisome problem in Edo State. Should you become the governor of the state, what feasible measures would you put in place to address this nagging problem, considering the fact that unemployment level in Edo State is currently put at 17%, and this has been said to impact on criminal activities in the state?
Thank you very much. We're going to bring to bear our principle of total engagement. And when you look at the principle of total engagement, you're looking at engaging the people either by empowering them or giving them employment. The first we're going to do is to revive the dead industries. We'll bring back all the industries. And for instance, Agbadewareke farm, before it was shut down, used to employ 2,400 people. That's on the upstream level. And when you come to the downstream, you can know the thousands of people it employs. The Better Insurance Company used to employ over 1,500 people on the upstream. And when it comes to the downstream, you know how many people it employ. Edo Line, last year sacked 784 people. Of course, that's the direct employees. We intend to get all these people back to work and employ new people in there. We intend to set up an ethanol plant. Of course, you know, ethanol is one of the raw materials for producing fuel, for drilling oil, and also producing alcohol. And that plant, we expect will employ not less than 15,000 people. We expect to set up about 2 mini refineries in Ikpobaoka and Ohioma local government, being the oil-producing areas. Of course, we expect that these 2 plants will employ not less than 500 people. We intend to set up a fertilizer plant in Oben because it's the gas production deposit in the state. Of course, the fertilizer plant is going to employ no less than 10,000 people. So, our industrialization principle, because we're setting up an economy driven by industrialization, will guarantee within the first 1 year 200,000 jobs for our people. And these are going to be pensionable jobs and direct empowerment jobs. So we've covered all that up. And hopefully, from November 12th, when we get sworn in, we'll move into action and get all the industry coming back. Thank you.
CPC, please.
We are going to generate employment for our teaming youth through agriculture, industrialization, and skill acquisition program. First, in agriculture, we are going to encourage our youth to engage in large-scale farming in both food and cash crops. This we will do by helping to acquire and distribute farming equipment, industrial farming equipment, giving subsidies to our young farmers, giving tax holiday to our young farmers, helping them to secure loans from banks. And so, because Edodecides is an agrarian society, if we're able to do this, much of our youth will engage themselves in farming. On the other side, we are going to create the enabling environment for private investors to come into Edodecides and invest. We are going to promote local processing of our food and cash crops, and for both local and export purpose. In doing this, our youth will find opportunities to get employment. And lastly, we are going to encourage our school system to have in their curriculum skill acquisition, at least in the final level of graduating, so that when you come out of the school system, you have the skill to go into self-employment. So these are the 3 areas we are going to generate employment for our youth. Thank you.
All right, NCP.
We have programs set aside that's going to involve the use of this state being engaged in especially agriculture, that is going to generate a lot of employment. It is not going to be a direct agri projects designed for individuals. So we're going to do that later on in the life of our governorship of Edodecides. But at the beginning, we're going to engage in mechanized farming. We go to, with due respect to the community governor, he has brought the Vietnamese to this state, and they are doing rice farming in a Lucien and Agoribodi area of Edodecides. I'm going to bring Americans to supplement their efforts.
Audience, please.
Because
audience.
This is not it is what we are going to do. I know about 30 acres of mechanized farm and feed the whole Benin City for a year.
The audience is not allowed to talk, please. Thank you.
I've seen all these things, these big farms in Pennsylvania, where you have thousands of hectares of land with wheat, rice, maize.
Thank you. Audience, please. I'd like to say again that you may want to sit if you're not talking, if you want it to be as comfortable as you can be. The PDP, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. The problem we have today in Edodecides is that most of our youths do not have craft or even a second job, a second profession in their hands. And you have so many of them walking the streets, restive, unemployed. The first thing I would do is to make sure that all the companies that are moribund today are immediately reactivated, starting from Agbede farms, the Ewu flour mills. You come down to the fruit juice in Eho, the Casavita, blended breweries that have all gone moribund, including Edoline. Immediately revitalize them and make sure that they are viable for employment, and most of our kids can be immediately employed. There is the direct labor agency that is in Edo State. It will be quickly revived, and this will create immediate employment for our teeming youths to be used to immediately touch some of those things we need to do, like our roads that are bad, our drainage systems, they can be cleaned, give the various towns immediate beautiful looks. And the skill acquisition centers that are in the 18 local government areas will be reactivated immediately to make sure that our youths can be quickly, in 3 months, given new skills with which they can work, make loans available to them immediately, and make sure that they can be immediately employed. Above all, my government, come 2012, November 12th, by the special grace of God, will ensure that the local content for contract awarded are strictly adhered to. There is no contract.
I'm afraid your time is up. SDMP, please.
Employment, right? Our employment policy at SDMP government will address some certain issues to solve voluntary and involuntary redundancies through our industrial and agricultural revolution. And we promise to create 100 cottage industries within 100 days in office, which will create 500,000 jobs. The German economy is based on well-managed cottage industries. The United States economy is based on well-managed cottage industries, which they have numerous types. And I've worked in some of them while I was abroad. So I know how it is done, and I'm going to create them in Edo State for my own people. So the question of redundancy, both voluntary and involuntary, we immediately cease when we begin our avalanche of cottage industries that will take effect from the northern aspect of Edo State to the western aspect to the south, to everywhere. Every hand will be busy working in Edo State. There will be no time for redundancy or sitting down. And that is in the first year. Within 2 years, I promise that unemployment will vanish in Edo State. I'm going to create 2 million jobs for all Edo indigenes. And people will come from all over other states to come and work in our state. Thank you.
Your time is still on. Are you done?
It's okay, it's okay.
All right. ACN, please. Audience, please, you're not allowed to talk, to cheer, to jeer. Thank you.
But first, I think the issue here is how, as they say, if wishes were horses, evil purpose would ride. Governance is not like magic. There must be formula to it. If I'm going to create 2 million jobs, I must specify how. Now, let me tell you what we try to do. I believe there are 2 key ways, 2 approaches to job creation. One is in the public sector. The other is in the private sector. That of the public sector, government can decide how many it wants to employ and how much it can afford from its limited resources to commit to salaries and wages. Bearing in mind the fact that you do need resources too to deal with issues of infrastructure, healthcare, education, etc. In 2007, I did promise that we will employ at least 10,000 young people in public works. We're not doing so out of pity. We're doing it because we believe that there is so much that can be done in the public sector, in the area of environmental sanitation, traffic control, keeping the environment clean, etc. As we speak, we have delivered on that. We've employed over 11,000 young people under our youth employment scheme. But this is not a solution to the problem. This is a short-term measure. In the final analysis, the long-term challenge of creating jobs, of having an economy that is job-led, because part of the challenge of the Nigerian economy is that whereas the statistics shows that our GDP is increasing by 6%, 8%, at the same time, the number of people employed are declining, which means Nigeria...
I'm afraid your time is up.
Yes. As a kind of follow-up, sir, it seems in spite of these initiatives, it's still very clear that there's a drift by most Edo citizens to Europe, especially youths. And there's a follow-up, the scandals, especially in prostitution and human trafficking. In spite of this drive to make them employed, how do you react to this kind of
but let me quickly
morality?
Say that
yes.
the word prostitution is not indigenous to Edo State. So we shouldn't allow ourselves to be rubbish as if that is a Edo disease. It is not. There is a level of exaggeration. That is not to say we do not recognize that the problem exists. But the long-term challenge of dealing with all of that is for government to create the enabling environment that will attract investors to the state to invest in businesses that are job or that are labor intensive. For example, as we speak, we have a fertilizer company called Green Park that has already entered into MOU with the Edo State government where they are going to produce fertilizer around Ologbo. That will generate over 3,000 jobs. Now, this is not a proposal. This is something we are already doing. We also have a deal with Dangote to set up another plant at Agenibode. That will offer jobs to over 5,000 persons directly. We have a collaboration with Azura Power Building Company. This one, Edo State has a minority share, but it is largely foreign-owned and foreign-driven. With all of this coming into fruition, these private concerns will create the employment which the state alone cannot. And of course, Tokyo World is already on, not IMAC, but not earmark, but IMAC. As we speak, we already have a number of foreign agric farms that are already operating in Edo State. One already at Aningbete, and just 2-3 months ago, we started an MOU with a South African company that is willing to come and set up another company that will produce rice. In addition to the fact that just two weeks ago, I signed a CFO to encourage existing palm oil companies to acquire more land on which to produce, to expand their operation, and of course that will lead to
I'm afraid
more
your
jobs.
time is up, ACN. I'm afraid your time is up, ACN. We want to announce to our candidates that we have 2 bottles of water there for you. One is room temperature, the other one is very cold. So you sip intermittently so you're comfortable. We also want to announce to the audience that we should endeavor to turn off our phones, turn off our telephone sets, or put them on courtesy mode. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. This one is directed at CPC candidate, and it's on health. A healthy citizenry is a major wealth of the state. Access to efficient and effective health delivery service is still a dream in Edo State. What is your panacea to the current situation where few rich Edo elite travel to Europe, India, and America to seek medical care, while the poor majority are condemned to ill-equipped and ill-staffed medical centers and hospitals? What's your ration, sir?
Thank you. Access to preventive and curative health system to be enhanced by CPC-led government. We intend, while refurbishing and bringing in up-to-date equipment to the existing hospitals we have now, we intend to create new ones that are up to standard in line with the modern system in Europe and America. Outside that, majority of our people live in rural areas. We also intend to extend healthcare system to them through establishment of clinics in every community, so that those in the urban centers have access to healthcare delivery system, and those in the rural area also have healthcare delivery system. Outside that, we need to invest on the training of our medical personnel. We need to encourage them for retraining and retraining, both within the country and outside the country, so that they will be able to operate those equipments, modern day equipment we are going to import to refurbish our hospitals. Thank you.
All right, NCP, please.
The healthcare system is cost-intensive area of. We're going to establish. The NCP government is going to establish what I think the United Nations called Doctors Without Borders. Why are we going to do this? A lot of our people are scared of going to the hospital. How are we going to do this? Majority of our people in the villages don't have access to good health. See somebody from the rural area in the hospital, no, his case is quarter to go. So what we're going to do is to provide vehicles and doctors of various disciplines. Go to cover the Edo State. I have one for the North, to Central. I will have one for the South. We're going to be moving from villages to villages. When we were growing up, we used to see what had to do this. They come to my village in those days. Everybody, old and the young and everybody. The doctor check you, diagnose, and give you treatment on the spot. It's going to be a supplement to what we're going to do health-wise. Go to equip the hospitals.
All right, the PDP.
Thank you. It's exaggeration to say that our people go to overseas countries for medical help. Our pregnant women in Edo State now move to Delta State or to River State to have their babies because of the medical programs they have in those states. Health is wealth, and the welfare of the people is the reason for governance in Edo State. Our government will ensure that every ward, the 192 wards, have their community hospitals. When you can get the primary health care right, 70% of our health problems will be solved immediately. Now, let me tell you the program we have for health care in the PDP. Our children below the age of 5 are going to have free medical cover, free medical care. Our pregnant women from month 3 of pregnancy will be allocated with doctors, and up till delivery, it's free. No matter the complications, they will be taken care of in this country. Our senior citizens that are above 70, we have their medical free. And these senior citizens can also assist in neighborhood watch, even in their homes. When you give them free medical services, they will become alert. And I want to tell you that we are going to strengthen all the central hospitals. There must be one in every senatorial district, and they will be equipped up to the level of requirement. And our doctors and nurses must be properly enumerated, given their normal salaries, and they will be located in the various rural areas so that they can attend to our people. There will be no rural-urban drift for medical services.
SDMP.
We at SDMP are not out to run down anybody. Here, in the aspect of healthcare, His Excellency Governor Adams Oshimole has done quite a great deal by providing free medical treatments to persons of above 60 years old. So he has started already as progressive what we intend to do. We will now give this same project of a continuance of the same underlying reality by making maximum interpretation of this same thing he started when we come to government. We are not going to terminate his own health program. We are going to continue it and extend it to children, to women, to several other organizations through a statewide health insurance policy that will now guarantee health for all. But we shall build new teaching hospitals to train medical doctors as well as nurses, and create employment and other stuff. And we will do pharmacies in all rural areas to have access to drugs and other clinics, so that we will have, because health is wealth. So it's going to be one of the primary objectives of our government, to make sure that everybody has good access to good health treatment and what have you. Thank you.
The ACN, please.
Well, as a matter of fact, we have, as we speak, we built health centers virtually in every local government area. And of course, I'm sure you must have seen on Sapele Road the bold effort we're making to build a completely new general hospital, which when completed, we have state-of-the-art equipment such that people wouldn't need to travel, except they want for status reasons. When that hospital is completed, it will have all the modern amenities that you can find anywhere in the world. And I believe that, but for the accident that happened recently, we were confident that by the end of the year, that hospital will be completed and it will be furnished. But even now, it will still be completed. We are dealing with the accident issues, sorting out insurance issues, and of course, we get on with the job. I believe that the challenge in the health sector, now one of the things I want to reflect on when we ask questions is to look at the pedigree of our political party. Before I assumed office, employment of doctors was prohibited by a previous government of PDP. This is a fact. Doctors were prohibited. We would employ new doctors, no employment of new nurses, no employment of new teachers, no employment of auxiliary staff. And so how could you deliver health care without doctors? Now, the good news is that we have revised this, and of course, we have since commenced the process. And we have engaged new doctors, and we are engaging more and more doctors to operate the health centers that we have built across the length and breadth of Edo State.
All right, the ANPP.
Thank you. Well, let me start by saying that when we do come in to office, we'll complete the project on Sapele Road. There's no problem with that. I haven't said that.
Audience, please.
I haven't said that. The problem we've had in the past 13 years of democracy in Edo State is that we have neglected the less privileged. We've neglected the downtrodden people. We've concentrated on the privileged people. Now, I took my time traveling around the 192 wards in Edo State, and I discovered that primary health care centers are absent. And so what happens is that when the people in the village fall sick, they either have the recourse to fall to the chemist that is just in one shop, the man is quack, he doesn't know what he's doing, or start rushing to take the patient to the local government headquarters that also have a half-baked facility. So our focus is going to be on the primary health care, while ensuring that at the center level, we'll create a state-of-the-art medical facility. I went to a specialist hospital 4 or 5 weeks ago, and what I saw there was not different. Actually, it was worse than what I saw 20 years ago. We walked into the male medical ward. Of course, if you walk in there, you just came in from the United States or the UK, and you walk into that hospital, you also could be admitted. That is something that is absurd. We need to take a departure. We all travel abroad, and we go there for medical care. I think we need to import what we see there. That's what we want to do. We've had discussions with a lot of medical practitioners, and what we want to do is to take experience from there, bring it down here to ensure that we have what we call an international state-of-the-art medical facility at the center, while providing medical care at the primary level at wards, at the ward level, at village level. Thank you.
ANPP, I'd like to ask a question. Laudable as what you've just said is, as laudable as it sounds, at what cost is it going to be on the people of Edo State? Are they going to pay through their noses to get all this, or are you planning something free for them?
Thank you very much. You know, I'm a businessman, and that's part of the benefit the state will get from me. The cost of having a primary healthcare center is no more than 5 million naira. And for 192 wards, it's not up to $1 billion. I want you to take a look at how much is steal every quarter, every month from the state. I want to take a look at what are misappropriated. 1 billion naira will provide one sound primary health care center in every ward of the 18 local government area. That's first year. Second year, you are duplicating it. Third year, you are triplicating it. And you go like that. Before I end my 4-year tenure, of course, almost every village will have a medical center. Now, I also want you to take a look at the various sources of income to the state and to know that if well appropriated, the cost of putting this thing together is not a lot. We'll plug the corrupt areas, ensure that the money we get are completely invested in the areas that will benefit the people and not areas that will not benefit the people. Thank you.
All right. The next question goes to Paul Orumese, the NCP flag bearer. Nigerians say the nation's major problem is leadership. Now, what is your understanding of this problem? And should you be elected the governor of the state, how are you going to tackle it, given the large-scale indiscipline and declining moral values in our national life?
The major problem we have in this country is indiscipline among the rank and file, then lack of enforcement. The law is enforced on the poor in our society, while the rich are still a Commonwealth go scot-free. Especially party that has been in power since 1999 at the federal level. They have completely destroyed this country. We at Edo State can only do a little because the Grand Dragon at Abuja have instituted and grant a permit to the civil servants and to those in government. Nowadays, we no more still build millions. We steal billions.
How do you stem it? What effort will you put in place to stem it?
What we are going to do is we are going to strengthen, though we don't have that power, to strengthen the law enforcement agents, like I said before, the law must be enforced to the letter, irrespective of whose horse is God.
All right, the PDP, please.
Thank you very much. The leadership issue has to do with a reorientation of ethics, starting from the home. And I also believe that we refer to the issue of corruption as probably putting the money right in your pocket. But I believe that if the issue of mentoring can be more of importance to our people, where people just take the laws into their hands in this part of the state, where you have a leader who will not obey laid-down rules. You have leaders who will not obey court judgments. You have leaders who will not even obey due processes, even in the award of contracts. You have leaders who arrogantly cheat their people. Those people will not have followership. So it's a two-way thing. The people that are led and the people that lead. And that is the issue we must put in place. So let's forget about the issue of you take the money and just put it in your pocket. There are so many other issues that need to be addressed to have an ethical value within the society. And once that is done, there will be followership, there will be leadership. And people must believe in leadership before they can be led. And so when people just come in, take the commonwealth of people without delivering to them, you don't provide for them, you don't have a humane leadership phase. A leader is as good as all his advisors put together. They must have a team play. You're a leader, nobody talks when you are there. Automatically, it's a very, very, very difficult situation to salvage your people. And that's where there's a problem in Edo State. And that is what PDP will come to correct. And that's where we are. Thank you.
SDMP.
The issue of indiscipline, declining moral values, declining ethical values, corruption is an embodiment of the evolving global phenomenon in what we call cultural pluralism. And this aspect of cultural pluralism and our input in that universal global village as members of the black race is becoming more and more portable. And as such, in Edo State, we shall focus on catching them young. We will go back to our traditional values of introducing cane in the school, because spare the rod, spoil the child. I was passing some places today, and they made me so much annoyed that the small children will just talk to elders anyhow. When I come to government, that will stop. No, I don't tolerate any act of indiscipline. And in schools, I will introduce cane. Parents should cane their children. You understand? Well, that idea of abroad, say they make that you will take your father to court when he cane you, will stop. I think it was General that introduced that system of discipline into schools. And immediately, Nigeria followed. Nigeria are good followers, but all they need is leadership to say it, and it will be done. As soon as you misbehave in schools, you be caned, so shall it be. And everybody will queue. That's how it is. When His Excellency Oshimole brought buses here, people are queuing to enter. They don't rush in, because he brought discipline of queuing in buses as it's done in Lagos. So that's what we are saying. Just show the light, show the way, and then the people are ready to follow you. So that's all about
the ACN, please.
Thank you. I believe the foundation for cleaning up corruption in our national life lies with clean, free, and fair election. People who corruptly acquire power cannot possibly run government without being corrupt. Because a he-goat can only give birth to another. In this state, it's an open secret that a political party has consistently been found guilty by court of law of corrupt practices in the process of electing candidates. And the question is, if you corruptly acquire power, can you do otherwise when you are in office? Number two, I think that a leader must show courage. And I like to say, without boasting to celebrate myself, but those guys who thought they were above the law, who build houses on the moat to compromise those things that our great-grandfathers saw wisdom in doing, those who build illegal structures, we've shown leadership by dealing with them in a manner that settles the issue that all of us are equal before the law. Incidentally, those who criticize me are those who say that certain persons ought to be excused on account of their status. I think we have demonstrated by action, not by words, that in this state, everybody is equal to the law. We have done it in the way in which we have removed illegal structures. Number two, I believe that who we are is not so much about what we say, but where we're coming from. And I think it's up to the electorate to do a critical evaluation of everyone's pedigree. Because the truth is, if you ask the condemned armed robbers...
I'm afraid your time is up, ACN. All right, the ANPP.
Thank you. I'm sure we all know that corruption has become a culture. And as a culture, we need to do a lot to depart from it. We've gone through so much era of wealth sharing. We're saying we need to move away from it to wealth creation. The Turkish parable states that the smell of the fish is first noticed from the head. And when we thought of taking the matter of leadership of the state, we've been working on this for so many years. About 5-6 years ago, we came up with a social change philosophy, an acronym called RITA, which stands for Responsibility, Integrity, Transparency, and Accountability. And it simply states that every man must take upon himself the mantle of personal responsibility. And while in the course of doing that, he must do it with the utmost transparency, accountability, and integrity. The question is, all the leaders we have, how many people have thought it wise to show high degree of responsibility? And in doing this, do it transparently with a high degree of accountability and integrity. So we intend to deal with it head on, the issue of corruption. And we intend to ensure that RITA will operate at all levels. If you don't comply with it, then you cannot work in our administration. We also intend to do it by example. We intend to show example. I mean, I've told many people that many years ago I had cost to return $37,000 that was wrongly invoiced to a company I work for. And that was about 1995. Thank you.
CPC, please.
Yes. Because of the long tradition of servant-master relationship with our kings and the negative legacy of meritocracy, which we experienced over a long time, our people tend to believe that the only route to power is fraud by force. Hence, we are seeing what we are seeing now. Well, those who get to power by force must, of course, feel non-accountable to the people. They lack accountability, they lack transparency, and, of course, they are corrupt. But we of the CPC, we believe we have fire in our bones, and therefore we can light flame in the heart of men. We believe that through socio-cultural reorientation, we can change the entire political class to shun corruption. This is our program. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. All right, the next question is going to the PDP, and then we'll go around the way we've been going round. Now, there is a general belief that the Nigerian economy cannot attain appreciable level of growth as long as the nation fails to break from its current mono economy and overdependence on oil. Now, what economy agenda have you fashioned out for Edo State, a state that is so blessed with a lot of natural resources?
70% of Edo land is arable. You have the savanna, you have the forest, and even the swampy areas. So we can easily diversify. I'm a proponent of, if oil runs dry in Nigeria today, does it mean we will just fold our hands? So we need to quickly revitalize our farm settlements. You have the Agbede Warake farm. When it was set up by Ogbemudia, they took the farmlands from all the communities to put that farm together. Today, it's a sorrow sight. When it was being developed, it had a helicopter pad. I visited the place. It's been vandalized. It's also a leadership problem. You have that and you are thinking of something else, something new. What's going to be new? The farm settlements you have in virtually every local government area have been abandoned. These are things we need to quickly put in place. The fertilizer company that is in Edo North has been abandoned. We want to start the new one. For me, it's unacceptable. We must go back to those things we know how to do. In Akoko Edo, there was a cattle ranch. There are new innovations. Our universities can be research centers. We have NIFO. Most of these things, the food crop, the cash crops can be quickly addressed. And I can tell you, Edo State will be the food, security food for the South, and we will start to export and get foreign exchange for our people. And this will also provide employment for our teeming youths that are roaming the streets doing nothing today. That is where the PDP stands in this process.
SDMP.
Thank you. Your question has to do with the macroeconomic policy of Nigeria vis-a-vis our own Edo State, which is how do we diversify our monocultured economy to be more useful to our people. Right now, the macroeconomic structure of the country is, as you know, based on export of primary oil products and perhaps some other food products here and there, which Edo State also generates, like timber, cocoa, and the rest. And we are going to give that a boost by helping people in that line. We also have a percentage of our rental, being a rental state, we have some oil, and we shall also be involved in assisting the federal government to in exploration and exporting of petroleum. But in the microeconomic level, it will be sufficient to say that we are going to generate IGR, that is internally generated revenue. Edo State has one of these most portable IGR, which thanks to His Excellency, Shumela has started again, because PDP left nothing in terms of generating.
No, you're not allowed.
No,
excuse me, SDP, excuse me, you're not allowed to cast aspersions on one another.
We will also focus on IGR. It's only Lagos State that generate up to 40% of their IGR now, their resources from taxes locally. We are going to do more than what His Excellency is doing. We are going to generate more, to at least 50% of our IGR will be generated from the rural areas. And we are going to empower them, because we are not just going to go there and be collecting money from them. We are going to empower them, and we are going to make them useful to be paying something to the treasury.
The ACN, please.
Yeah, first, I think we need to clarify a couple of issues. Some of my colleagues have spoken about Ewu Flour Mill, for example. I need to remind them that Ewu Flour Mill is not owned by Edo State government. Edo State government owns only 5% of the shares. And so you can't, there is limit to what you can do if the core investor is not willing to play along. Number two, Okwela Cement. As we speak, the company is being reviewed by Julius Berger, because I issued a stern warning to the company that bought it over. It was privatized by a PDP government. And this is a fact, we have to say it as it is. And the ownership has ownership has changed several times over. But the good news is that as we speak, Julius Berger is rebuilding the company under the new ownership. And I'm sure in the next couple of months, if everything works well, I have been assured the company will come into production, and it will offer both direct and indirect employment to a couple of thousands of people. Number three, bed insurance. Again, this was run down by PDP government. It's always important that these points are made, because you don't eat your cake and have it. having run it down, we inherited a huge liability, both in terms of personnel costs, but also in terms of getting the company back to production. And we discovered there were a lot of legal issues. Churchgate claimed ownership, Edo State government claimed ownership. And so that led to a lot of legal tussle. In between, the company had accumulated over 2 billion naira debts to banks, and because Edo State government ordered the PDP signed guarantor for those loans.
I'm afraid your time is up.
It's not.
The ANPP, please.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure that if you have followed our campaign, you know that the trust of our administration is to run an economy that is strictly driven by industrialization. That's what we plan to do. I would not want to repeat myself by saying we're going to revive all the dead industries. But one vital factor that will drive our economy, one vital element that will drive our economy is going to be agriculture. We have this program which we call One Local Government, One Crop Syndrome, which we intend to commercialize. For instance, in Akoko Edo, they're very good in tomatoes. We intend to say, yes, encourage the farmers there to grow tomatoes and site a tomato production plant there. For instance, Esako is good in groundnut. We intend to encourage them to grow groundnut and site a groundnut production mill there. In Umo there, we'll find they're good in palm oil, good in cassava. We intend to encourage them. In Ilushi, they're good in rice. We intend to encourage them. We want to have one local government, one crop. And what we intend to do is commercialize this crop, export them. We intend to make huge resources from it. Edo State, for the past 21 years, lost their glory. We used to have glory in sports. Yes, we do so good in sports. We used to have glory in food production. We're so good in food industry. But all is now gone. We intend to bring all this back to have our glory in food production, in industrialization, and of course you know that all this will stem towards building the human capital. That is the crux of the criminality that we're experiencing in the state. This will help us to build the human capital, help us to build human capacity, and at the end of the day, we'll have a booming state where everyone is satisfied.
Right on time, CPC.
The greatest asset of Edo State is the land. So, like I said before, we are going to encourage our teaming youths to engage themselves in mechanized farming so that we'll be able to produce a huge quantity of both food crops and cash crops. Edo State, if properly promoted in farming, will be able to produce rubber, palm produce, and cocoa that will be exported outside this country. Outside that, Edo State is blessed with the various mineral deposits. And so our focus will be on promoting industries that will be engaged in processing these raw materials. Fruits, rubber produce, palm produce, cocoa produce, which we are exported to generate revenue for the state. This is the crush of our program. Thank you.
The NCP.
Like I told you people earlier on, we go to diversify the economy of Edo State. We go to improve on agriculture. We are going to improve on electricity generation. We are going to improve on water. Two other areas of the economy are important. These three areas are the most basic, like I said before. If you have, even if you are living in the hole, you have water, you have electricity, you feel more comfortable. If you are in the village, you won't have time to think about moving to the urban area. We are going to invest in these areas to accommodate our team youth by engaging them to work in the farms and generate enough food for the people of Edo State. While we export the rest to other parts of the world. We used to be a pride of this nation in rubber production, in cocoa production, and palm produce. But unfortunately, because of the inept government we had in the past, they allowed all this industry to die. The major industry, I'm sorry to say, we have now is everybody wants to go abroad. So we're going to put a stop to this if our emphasis is boosting farming to the level of producing more than enough for Edo State. Like I said before, when we are going to acquire lands and employ.
I'm afraid your time is up. As NCP.
Yes, thank you. The next question is directed at the SDMP and some budget implementation. Budget implementation is a major national headache. Fiscal indiscipline and disregard for financial regulations are now norms. What measures will you put in place to ensure that budgets serve the purpose of facilitating development initiatives in Edo State, especially at the local government level?
Thank you. The issue of fiscal discipline in the aspect of budgeting is a big problem in this part of the world, because people project more. A budget is a projected earnings as against spending. At the end of the day, they overproject, and the resources available is not sufficient. Then you see that there is deficit budgeting, and at the end they go a borrowing, and most states have what you call zero allocations now, and they are no more viable according to the governor of CBN, Sanusi Lamido. We are going to cut our coat according to the cloth available. We are not going to spend more than what is available and more than what we are given by statutory allocation. And we will now do more on what we describe as IGR. The house in the aspect of macroeconomy will be given power to transform Edo State from a rental state, which is primeval, into what you call a modern tax state. Then, in that context, there will be enabling laws for us to generate resources from the rural areas, and then we will be able to generate enough for our projects. We will enforce fiscal discipline. Each ministry we will set up, and local government areas we will set up a disciplinary committee to go around to check excesses and make sure there is fiscal discipline, sir.
Thank you. The ACN, please.
Well, I think we've demonstrated that it is possible to re-engineer finances in order to be able to deliver services to the people. Prior to 2007, when I assumed office, or 2008, Edo State was dismissed as an unviable entity. Why? Because 80% of our total receipt was devoted to recurrent expenditure, and only 20% was earmarked for capital project. But even at that, at the level of what is actually released, you will find that even that 20% for capital project was not actually released, which explains why the state was completely run aground. Right now, looking at our last year annual report, not budget, you will find that we actually spent 60% of our total earnings on capital projects and only 40% on recurrent expenditure. And that recurrent expenditure includes some of the things that my brother promised. For example, right now, we provide free Medicare, a free maternity treatment for all women, including children under the age of 5. And last month, we flagged off free eyeglasses to all men and women who are 60 years and above. And of course, consequent upon the withdrawal of subsidy, we announced free health care for men and women who are 70 years and above. And that is why when my brother was offering the same thing, I said, no, You are offering what the people already enjoy. So you can't give what we already have. But just to say that if you look at our pattern of spending now, you will find that in 2009, Edo State government, under my stewardship, we reduced the recurrent expenditure, the cost of running government, by 5 billion naira when you compare what we spent in 2009 to what the previous government spent in 2008. And I think that summarizes the statement as to how we approach public spending. We have restored integrity, we have eliminated wastages.
All right, the ANPP, please.
Thank you. So we know that budget implementation has to do with discipline, commitment, and vision. And when a leader is committed to discipline and has a vision to deliver to the people, and his followers are not committed to the same vision, then there's a problem of implementing the budget. I think that's one of the problems we find in the state. There's so much conduit in the state, conduit that transfers resources of the state of the people to individual pockets. And one of the things we intend to do when we come into office is to institute a law which guarantees the people the right to know. And what do you need to know? You need to know the amount that is accrued to the state every month. You need to know the total number of projects that have been awarded. You need to know the amount that the project has been awarded for. You need to know the duration for which that project should be concluded. You need to know the exact amount you're spending for capital and recurrent expenditure. The right to know. Now, if we open the envelope and whether the commissioner is a director, he is aware that the people have the right to know, have the right to ask questions, he's going to be forced to be disciplined. We intend to institute what we call the People's Parliament. I mean, that's the need for the people to come a month in one forum and bring the leaders or whoever is responsible for a particular program to the people to defend himself, defend his project, and decide, and the people will decide whether this person has done it right or has done it wrong. There's so much shadiness in governance, and if that is not curbed, transparency will not occur. So for budget implementation, we expect that transparency will be the order of the day, and the right to know, the law, including the right to know, will be established. Thank you.
CPC.
Permit me to say that fiscal indiscipline and financial rascality at all levels of governance is associated with the weak system of accounting and audit system practiced by government at the federal and state level, even at the local government level. The system does not give adequate room to assess performance. The account we see published by government, not only at state government, not only at those states, all over the states, is jumble of figures. You cannot assess what is actually done by these figures. And so, to check this, CPC-led government will initiate the required legislation to change this account and audit system, to improve upon what we have now. And two, even before that legislation is passed by the House of Assembly, we are going to give detailed notes as responsible government on the accounts we are going to publish quarterly, yearly. This will give room for those who vote for us to assess our performance and re-elect us into positions. Outside that, we are going to observe, as responsible citizens, we are going to observe government limits on spending and obey the rule of law to the latter, so that when we come out, people will say, yes, we have seen your record. We saw what flow in, we saw what flow out. And you can match what flow out with the physical things you are seeing on the ground. Thank you.
All right, the NCP.
When you as a leader is corrupt, there is a tendency for your government to be loose. There's a tendency for your government to not be there by, in name. This is what will be happening in Edo State for almost 10 years before the new government came in. So we in NCP, we are going to set in motion a yardstick with which we're going to lead by example. Like I said earlier, if you as a leader, you are not corrupt, and your followers are seeing you, how do you come about this? When somebody, when any commissioner is in the ministry, you see the ministry is lacking in so many areas. You don't need to be told that money a mark for that ministry is being siphoned somewhere. Like I said earlier on, it's not easy for the state government to stop corruption at this level when those already caught are walking the streets. So it's no use coming here to promise Edo State people what you cannot do. Okay? It's easier said than done. It's very sweet when you are saying it. But the art of governance is one of the most difficult something you can ever think of.
The PDP.
A budget is a financial estimate for a period of 12 months with a view to giving you the opportunity to review your performance at the end of the financial year. But what I have seen with Edo State budget, that is taking their budget of continuity, which is out of 2012, a budget of consolidation, and so on, giving different names. I've observed that our people are not given the opportunity to exercise their franchise, which is supposed to happen in clear democracy. The figures are virtually the same. We are talking about free health today because it's an election year. No. When you look at the budget and you are talking about health care, you put 2.2 billion. Education, 7.7 billion. These are figures that are just picked. You now come to beautification of Edo State, 18 billion. What are you beautifying? Your pocket? You now come to works, you put 43 billion. I am an expert in budget preparation, and I understand what the inputs. If you start from the grassroots, you go to the local government council, they give you their priorities. You go to the local government, they give you their priorities. There is an input. At the end of the day, the people also have reasons to know why there are variations, why the budget didn't perform. Most of the people prior to 2008 that were in the other government, I don't want to mention them, they are also participants in what is happening today in Edo State. If they were corrupt then, what stops them from being corrupt now? We're having problems. And that is why the leadership PDP is going to bring will have a human face, will be accountable to the people, will be transparent. We will not award any contract without the consent of the Commissioner for Health, like what happened in a special central hospital. We will not.
I'm afraid your time is up. Audience, please. I'd like to direct this next follow-up question to the ACN. Now, the question we asked earlier asked how would you ensure that fiscal indiscipline and disregard for financial regulations, that they are now norms in Edo State? What measures will you put in place to ensure that these budgets serve the purpose of facilitating development initiatives in Edo State, especially at the local government levels? Especially at the local government levels. Because at the moment, there are only caretaker committees at these local government levels. How would you ensure that these budgets serve the purpose of facilitating developmental initiatives?
I think this is our very, very strongest point. That beyond rhetoric, because it's easy for everyone, as I say, even an armed robber can preach morality. Now, the challenge is how. I believe everyone in this hall, and even those watching, will agree. But the evidence of how we spent Edo resources is everywhere across the 18 local government areas. So much that people are asking the question, where was this money before? How come that in the past we couldn't see road, we couldn't see water, we couldn't see healthcare? All of the money we have used to build Akpakpaba Road, to build Sapele Road, Airport Road, Siloko Road, Oba Market Road, Ieya Street, all of that. All that money have been there in the past, but it was privatized. Now, the difference is that we have scrupulously implemented the budget to the letter. First, re-engineer it away from consumption to development, and then ensure that we deliver on the promises. So I think the evidence on ground answers the question much more than I can say. Number two, I'm happy with, I think it's my brother, Chief Edebiri, who talked about a proverb that says, if the head of the fish is not smelling, the body will behave. And so, if the same people who were in PDP are now in ACN, and we are delivering road, delivery of water, delivery on healthcare, delivering in those areas, leaking rural communities, employ contractors that never worked anywhere in Edo State before. It means all that has changed is a responsible leadership. And I think everybody said it. Once the leader gives clear signal, followers have a choice to follow and remain, or misbehave and get kicked out. And we have kicked out quite a number. So I think that is the point to make.
Audience, please. Audience. Audience, please. All right, that was just a follow-up question. We now go on with rounds of questions.
Now, the next question is directed at the ACN governorship candidate, Comrade Adams Oshomole. We still want to stay on with this issue of corruption because underlying performance in practically all the sectors is the issue of corruption. Now, the yearly rating of Nigeria by Transparency International as a corrupt nation has assumed the status of a national embarrassment. And also political appointments as compensation for political support, as well as the propensity for spoils of office, have been argued as impediments to the fight against corruption. Now, what do you have in place in Edo State as a basis for key appointments? And what are you doing to institutionalize the culture of leadership by example?
Great. First, I believe that one way to institutionalize good governance is by creating the appropriate legal environment which compels you to behave and remain, or you misbehave and you are out. And that is why Edo State government, under my leadership, 3 months ago, we passed into law Procurement Act, Public Procurement Act. Under that law, it is no longer up to the governor or up to the commissioner or anyone in government to award contract according to his whims and caprices. You must comply with the law. And that law has several provisions. So what that means is that even if a crook comes in tomorrow and chooses to do otherwise, he has option to remain in government or end up in prison, because it is now a legal obligation for him to comply with certain procedures. So we have moved beyond the era of, sermonizing to that of passing law to compel obedience. Number two, I think the beauty of presidential system is that a governor, like a president, will have the commission that reflect his values. You have the right to hire and to fire. And every commissioner, every functionary holds his office at your pleasure. And I'm happy to say that I've, of course, even few weeks to election, to kick away a commissioner who had issues that bother some corrupt practices. And I think it is when you apply a correct mix between the carrot and the stick that you send the message to your followers. behave and you remain, or you don't and you are dealt with. I think we should go beyond sermonizing. The challenge of Nigeria is that sense of impunity, that, people kind of, breach the law and they go home and sleep. And I believe we have shown some level of capacity. We have demonstrated the will to deal with anyone that offends the law. And our records are there. In fact, today, the fact that you have...
I'm afraid your time is up. The CPC.
Thank you.
The ANPP, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm sure you will remember the ANPP on July 14th. You won't miss the con. The issue of corruption, appointments, leading by example, borders a lot on the electoral process. When a candidate is ushered into office by a singular effort, but an effort of 1, 2, or 3 persons who think they carry the leadership of the organization or the party, as soon as that candidate takes the mantle of leadership in the state, what happens is that the people begin to dictate the pace as well. And therefore, you cannot have round pegs in round holes. At the ANPP, we've gone beyond this. One, I'm sure everyone knows that I'm a product of a coalition of progressive political parties. And our desire is to deliver on our promises in order to attain the revolution we bring to the fore of Edo State. A political revolution, an economic revolution, and a social revolution. So, we will ensure that people are appointed only on merit. I'll give an example. If I say I need a commissioner for works, and I create the criteria for that commissioner, the criteria he must meet. If Mr. A brings Peter, who does not meet with that criteria, I will not accept. You've got to bring somebody, you've got to appoint somebody who we have interviewed and fits into that particular function. That is the idea. If you continue on the path of political appointments, because this man was recommended by this godfather, recommended by that godfather, of course, we're going to continue to have either square pegs in round holes, or we're going to have round pegs in square holes. Thank you.
CPC, please.
CPC shall have all-inclusive government. We shall not give out appointment on the basis of party patronage. We shall look for the best hands across board, all professionals, whether party A, party B, civil servant, and all. We will get the best hands to do our work. And there will be strict division of labor. It's not a situation where one man controls all. We will avoid that. When work are divided, give room for those experts you have employed to diligently discharge their duty. They will do it well. That's on the issue of employment. Well, I have said before that we are happy that the Public Procurement Act is in place, as established by the current government. I have said before that CPC will strengthen the accounting and audit system by initiating more regulations that will checkmate executive lawlessness in the area of spending. And so when this is in place, and we have diligent hand to discharge their duties, abiding by the rule of law, then corruption will be a thing of the past. Adherence to budget will be the order of the day. Thank you.
NCP, please.
In implementing the budget, there are so many things you take into consideration. You implement the budget, and at the end of the day, you don't see anything on ground. Yes.
We're talking about fighting corruption. NCP, not budget implementation.
All right. In fighting corruption, it's one of our prerogatives. Because corruption is the problem, not just for Edo State, it's the problem of this country. While other nations are leaping forward, Nigeria is going down the drain every day as a result of corruption. I said it before, that we no more steal millions. We are now stealing billions. The people that steal these billions are walking the streets. because their government is in power. If you catch a thief or an armed robber that steals 5 naira, is imprisoned, while people that steal billions are wearing agbada, you see them in all the fortunes. So the problem we have with corruption, like I said before, is lack of enforcement of the law. If you show good example as a leader, and some of these people are caught and punished as the laws require, I think it will serve as a deterrent to others. So what NCP government is going to do is to make sure that the law functions. No matter whose house is God, no matter how big you are in the society, it's even better to make.
Thank you, NCP. The PDP, please.
Thank you. Until we start to see corruption beyond just taking money from our commonwealth and putting it in our pockets, then the earlier we'll start to have solutions to the problem of corruption. The presidential system has created the enabling environment for us to reduce corruption in every facet of our life. I want to quickly take Edo State that we are bothered about right now. Most of the laws that we have here are not obeyed by anybody, not even the executive, even not the legislators. I'll give you a reason why the due process law was introduced. When the United Nations, even the European Union, came to Edo State, there was no due process. And they almost went back with the 75 million euro they were to bring. And it was then the due process mechanism came on board. It has never been there. I have never seen any contract awarded in Edo State, and it is advertised in the newspapers. None. That is the beginning of corruption.
As audience, you are not allowed to applaud, you're not allowed to cheer, you're not allowed to jeer. The debate is still on, ladies and gentlemen.
Until we address that, Edo State will remain in the dark. I will give you just 3 examples because of time. Airport Road was awarded, and I want to be quoted, for 4.5 billion without advert, without the necessary BOQ. And I have not seen Edo State House of Assembly, the Works Inspection Committee, invite the contractor that was awarded that contract and queried before it was cancelled and re-awarded for almost, and we can calculate that at this rate, Edo State Commonwealth is being eroded. Go to the hospital itself. Since that issue of accident came out, which my ASEAN counterpart said, have members of the House of Assembly invited the contractor, even the consultant, 380-something million consultancy, he has not been invited to tell us what happened in the Central Hospital. We have a problem until we start to give our leadership a human face. Human face. Transparency.
I'm afraid your time is up, the PDP. The SDMP. I'd like to remind the audience again, ladies and gentlemen, the debate is still on. Please comply with our rules. The SDMP, please.
Thank you. The issue of corruption, which you made mention of the category which Transparency International kept Nigeria in recent times, which has become embarrassing, a sort of, perhaps as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Yes, it's a very complex issue that has to do with endemic poverty and the fear of our country not fusing together into a one nation. If a country has been able to fuse together adequately into what's called one socio-economic polity, the avarice to want to help oneself with the money from the central post will be reduced. Indiscipline is also part of it. In the Murtala Muhammad regime, when he came out with a firm declaration that his government will not tolerate any act of indiscipline. The late Murtala Mohammed brought Nigeria to his senses, and everybody complied with him. If you have a good leadership, men of timber and caliber, to lead us to the promised land, Nigerians are good followers. We are not as bad as they paint us. You understand? What we just lack is the leadership. And the government of SDMP is determined to bring the leadership not only within the context of Edo State, but within the context of the entirety of the Nigerian Federation, to lead the Nigerian Federation to the promised land, as well as lead Africa to the community of nations among men. So, indiscipline is the causes of corruption. When people are disciplined, they will not go and steal another man's property, nor steal the collective wealth. Thank you.
Yes, this question now is on women and is directed at ANPP, please. Women constitute a large percentage of the illiterate group in Edo State. What initiatives would you embark upon to reverse this trend and step up the growth and development of girl-child education for sustainable development, sustainable intellectual resourcefulness, especially in the area of affirmative action?
Very major issue in the state, and successive governments have tried their best to see how they approach it. For us, we are aware that there are a number of quality women who can even do a lot of things better than men can do. We intend to balance this up. We are looking at a situation where our government will have a minimum of 30% women participation across board, and mean at the board level, at the executive level, and at the directorate level. We're also looking at the prime area of women, which is the market. For instance, we have a design already to rebuild all the markets in the state, especially in the urban areas, while we extend the same thing to the local government headquarters. In doing this, we intend to give the women their pride of place. We're also having this women empowerment program, which is a business scheme that will empower the women to improve their trade and enhance their profit. Of course, we know fully well that all the other social programs we have will have a direct bearing on the women. We also intend to ensure that women are given their right in place, especially in education. We're having a program on education that allow women to access the academic program to go to school by going to government to get funds to pay for their educational program. So our program for women is all encompassing, right from employment to business empowerment to trading and also to education. Thank you.
CPC, please.
CPC believe in gender equality. First, we shall give equal opportunity to all in education, in employment, and in governance. In politics, we shall encourage women to participate actively. And like I said, CPC will involve the people, because we are people-oriented government. We involve all in the process of governance. And in doing so, we shall ensure that the women are not left aside. We shall consult all various women organizations, women associations in the process of making policy and implementing our policy. That is the program of CPC for women. Of course, we can encourage them. Where they lack, we shall encourage them to make up to their male gender. Thank you very much.
All right, the NCP.
Big government in Edo State is going to give women equal opportunity as men. How do we do this? We make sure women take their right of place by sending them or by helping them in education. The girl child will be encouraged to go to school. In Edo State today, the percentage of boy girls in schools is almost at par. And we're going to do more to make sure that the girl child acquire the same education as men. In employment, there will be no discrimination. We go to encourage our village women by giving them loans to boost their trades or whatever they are engaged in. The NCP government are friends of women. We have a lot we're going to do for them. So women around here, tell your people at home to vote for NCP because we're going to raise you to another level. Thank you.
The PDP, please.
Thank you. You know, charity begins at home. And the home is the woman. I believe that for us to get our ethical values back on track, we must give equal opportunities to our women. And that is why throughout my campaign, even to the ward levels, I have taken my wife along. Even those areas that are inaccessible, Ofunama, all those riverine areas, I have gone with women for them to know exactly what's happening. Even places that security reports have said I should not go. I have been there with my wife and the women leaders in PDP. And so that already has equipped them. And those inhibiting factors that stop women from participating in politics, like midnight meetings, helping the women to pay for their nomination fees, we bring them on board. Because if you look at the demography, even for voting in Edo State, the women are more in number. And so we must give them their right of place. We must empower them. Give them the opportunity to access loans through cooperatives. Establish the strength of the woman. Most women leaders don't even have funds to even bring their collective women together. So you must empower them. You must give them a pride of place in the society. And so for that reason, I will give them equal opportunity in my government, a government that has not met the affirmative action where you can have at least 25% of your commissioners. We, in the PDP, we are looking beyond 35% in the government we are going to establish November 12, 2012. Thank you.
All right, before I go to the SDMP, let me quickly make this announcement. For security reasons, all audience must remain seated until all candidates leave the hall. Please, we ask candidates to please appeal to your supporters to comply. All the audience must remain seated until all the candidates leave the hall. SDMP, please, it's your turn.
In the aspect of the women and youth development, we intend to give women of Edo State 50% of our government in terms of employment facility. It will be 50-50 for male, 50 for the women in the government. Because our observation is that apart from women being perhaps the largest voting community in the demography of voters we have in Edo State, they also are our mothers. And the behavioral pattern in the contemporary times have kind of more rectitude. I wouldn't say that the male folk, but they are paradoxically within the context of international standard practice. So we are going to recognize them, and in fact it will be their government. It will be their government because they are more, and they are more in the voting. As regards youth, of course, most of our programs also are designed to reorientate youth, particularly the ones that are wayward, you know, the concept of prostitution of women, this and that, which I attract them and bring them home and rehabilitate most of them. Well, the male youth, the same thing. Indiscipline is all over the place. I will form what the Russians call Vaspitania Novava Chilaveka. There will be a complete reorientation of the Nigerian youth. Just go out there. They insult elders. They have no respect for nobody. Our government of SDMP will not tolerate that. We will reorientate them by whatever means possible under the sun. Our youth must be the best youth we have in Nigeria and in Africa. Thank you.
The ACN, please.
I think we've demonstrated practically our appreciation of the fact that unless and until Nigeria pays proper attention to the right of women, we cannot attain our full potential as a nation. Under my stewardship, I have assigned women to the most challenging ministry. One good example is the first woman who was in charge of education. And you know, before now, Edo State used to be very notorious for exam malpractices. That lady, who is now a professor in University of Lagos, provided radical leadership, which has eliminated that. And today, Edo State is no longer among those states that are considered as the worst culprit when it comes to exam malpractices. Our ICT, which is one of the major institutional reforms we have brought about to eliminate abuses, ghost workers, and fake contracts by documenting and computerizing government activities, working towards e-government. That unit is headed by a woman. Our Ministry of Health, which is usually one of the key ministries, is headed by a woman. The person responsible for delivering on our Millennium Development Goal, MDG program, is a woman. So beyond verbal statement, we have demonstrated that. But let me clear the misinformation by the PDP candidate when he said the United Nations. I think it doesn't mean to say UN does not lend money. I think that is something you need to revisit. UN does not lend money. And so you are thoroughly wrong on that. The truth is, the World Bank has been impressed.
Audience, please. Audience.
The World Bank has been impressed by the institutional reform that we have brought in place. They have seen evidence of performance. They've gone around beneath. We've done in erosion and flood control. They've looked at our environmental agenda and what impact we have made. And they are so impressed.
I'm afraid your time is up, ACN. I'm afraid your time, I'll have to stop you now, the ACN. Your time is up.
Certainly not.
We want to go on the last lap of this debate, starting alphabetically. For the candidates, in the next two minutes, to give their closing remarks. Two minutes. Final word from all the candidates, starting with the ACM, alphabetical.
Well, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I want to remind the people where we are coming from. It's so easy to promise to put air conditioning everywhere. But in choosing who to believe, we must look at our past, we must look at our pedigree. I am happy to say that today, Edo State schools wear new looks. If I were to talk of gender, the first school we rebuilt was Idia College. Today, it compares to any private school anywhere in the state. Across the three senatorial districts, schools are wearing new look. We are building and reconnecting rural communities. People that have been abandoned are dismissed as people who do not matter except for election rigging. We have restored confidence to the Edo man. We have liberalized the politics. No one man now controls who become what. Edo people are now in charge of their own destiny. We have laid foundation. We have reinvented the state. We are now truly the heartbeat. And we are ready to move on to the next level. And I think in choosing who to give the benefit of the doubt, you must remember, when you put a new wine in a poison bottle, that content will be contaminated. When you put a clean wine, or rather a clean bottle, and you put a poisonous liquid, it is also contaminated. We have had 30 years of democracy, 10 years of PDP, 3.5 years of ACN. The difference is for you to judge. It's not by what we say, it's by what you see. Not what we earmark, what we have eye-mark. And I know people must decide, never again shall we make empty rhetorics. We have demonstrated our report card.
Audience.
That will be the basis for deciding this election. Because as I said, if it is for us to roll out textbook statements Nigeria would not be where we are. The challenge of leadership is having the man of character, the man that is tested, the man that has a pedigree, the one that has always focused on human welfare, and the one that identifies with the people, the one that appreciates that governance is only about public welfare. And we have distinguished ourselves, I believe, in these and other areas. And those states can't be the same again.
Thank you. ANPP, your closing remarks.
Thank you. Well, my good people of Edo State, as the time closes by for you to make a decision, I want you to be aware of where we're coming from. I want you to be aware of the past. I want you to know that the last 13 years of democracy has brought us so many memories, some good memories and some very poor memories. I want you to realize that some of these memories do not evidence the changes that you want to see in the people. I want you to know that what we bring to you is the structural changes, the change that you want that will reflect in the people. We want to change that downward graph in the human capital development. We want to ensure that you have schools that are completely equipped with laboratories and libraries that, of course, can accommodate not more than 30 people in a classroom. We want to ensure that all schools are equipped, of course, with teachers all over the place. We want to ensure that your children can go to school without suffering. We want to ensure that the poor, the children of the poor and the children of the rich can sit in one classroom, studying one course without fear of how to pay the school fees tomorrow. We want to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor when it comes to education. We want to ensure that rural development is really called rural development, where water will be available to all, where primary health care will be available to all, where, of course, Edo State will be known for food production as our main economic state, other than the industries that we will create. We want you to know that the election that is coming should not be decided by how much they pay you to vote, because we are aware that people will be willing to pay you 30,000 naira, 20,000 naira to cast your vote. But I want you to look at 30,000 times 1 million.
Thank you, NPP. Your time is up. The CPC, your closing remarks.
My good people of Edo State, we believe that sovereignty belongs to you. And I will seek this mandate to lead the leadership of Edo State government come November 12, 2012, because we believe we are going to procure government, not for our personal aggrandizement, but for what we can procure for you in terms of happy life, in terms of good life, in terms of security of property and life. Therefore, we represent that change that will bring you all this. We seek your mandate today because we believe we will be accountable to you. We will not do any shady business. We will give you account on quarterly to quarterly basis, yearly to yearly basis. And the account we are going to give you will reveal the performance that we have put in place. Therefore, we believe that when we are accountable to you, we will not, for fear that legitimacy of governance belongs to the people. It is sought from the consent of the people. But because we know this, we will perform and be accountable to you. My good people of Edo State, we know that the greatest problem of Edo State now is impoverishment, poverty. We hope to elevate this by industrial revolution through investment, heavy investment on mechanized farming, through extraction of our mineral resources that's abundance everywhere in Edo State, and we'll promote processing of our cash crop and food crop to increase the level of industrialization of Edo State. With this, there will be gainful employment for our people. There will be security of life and property. My good people of Edo State, we depend on you. We don't depend in rigging. We don't depend in spending money. We believe that you need the best, and the CPC stands to offer you the best. Thank you.
The NCP, please. Your closing remarks.
My good people of Edo State, you must realize and focus on the days past. What we have from governments for 10 years, what we have now in 3 years, we must try as much as possible. This is something that concerns our lives, the life of our children. So you must don't be allowed or don't be bought over by money.
Audience.
Don't sell your conscience. Don't sell your voter's card. Because there are people who are ready to spend billions to buy them. We in SCP, we don't believe in spending money to win election. Because we are going to give you what you deserve. Then secondly, at those states, we have one family. We are pleading, we don't want violence in this election. We have 7 here, only one is going to be the governor. Please, our fathers are known for peace. They have not been fighting or killing each other in this part of Nigeria for election. I grew up when my father was playing politics with AG and NCSC. They don't fight.
Audience.
This concerns the whole of us. We don't want to listen. Don't fight, because when there is fight, it is those you don't expect that will suffer it. Whoever wins, let every other person support.
Thank you, NCP. Your time is up. The PDP, your final remarks.
The security and the welfare of Edo people is the reason for governance. And that was the dream of our founding fathers when they agitated that Edo State must be created. A situation where our leaders arrogantly cheat our people. You visit all the 192 wards, there is no life. They have not been touched by governance. They have been denied their right to franchise. They have not been allowed to vote local government chairmen into offices. They have no input in the award of contracts. Contracts that are awarded have no local content, where even our youths can be employed in the process of even learning the job in those contracts. The PDP government will bring a human face to politicking in Edo State. A leader is as good as all his advisors put together. We must be a team player to be part of politics in Edo State. And that is what PDP is bringing on board. A situation where our youths are not empowered, a situation where our women are out of it, our elders are not even known in the society. I want to tell you today that Charles Ariavere, PDP governorship candidate, will restore the dignity of the Edo man. I want to assure you that dry bones will rise again. One man, one vote, one woman, one vote, one youth, one vote, and your vote will count. And I can assure you that will happen.
Very good. Audience, please, the debate is still on. You're not allowed to cheer or jeer. The debate is still on. The SDMP, please, your final remarks.
Yes. The closing remark from SDMP. The meaning of SDMP is Social Democratic Mega Party. And as Social Democrats, we offer you everything within the concept of the philosophy of central-left. Here, I'm talking that Western Germany, or the German government, is a social democratic government. The Russian government of Unity Party is a social democratic government. The Chinese, as well as the South African government of ANC, are also governments of social democracy, including that of Mexico. That is what we offer you. And it is the best you can have, because they are the richest aspect of the BRIC states now that have $21 trillion surplus in the World Bank. Now, what we offer you at SDMP is free education at all levels. Job creation in our first 100 days of 400,000 jobs. Free health insurance scheme, agricultural industrial revolutions through cottage industries, Empowerment of youth and women, as we said, women will be 50% of the cabinet and all other employment. Good transport policy. We will assist the federal government through nuclear power plant to generate 10,000 megawatt of electricity in our first 2 years in office. We cannot solve the electricity problem of Nigeria in context of generation without nuclear power. Remember that. Hydroelectricity and the rest cannot help us for now. We have to do what other nations are doing. So, and in all, I thank everybody. I thank the people of Edo State, and they are good, loving people. And I appeal that you make me by July 14, 2000.
I'm afraid your time is up, SDMP. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the debate for the first session of the governorship debate 2012. That's today, the 27th of June, 2012. I must thank all the candidates. Audience, please. Audience, the debate is still on. The debate is still on. The debate is still on. PDP, please appeal to your people to calm down. Please appeal to your people to calm down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the debate for the first session of the governorship debate today, the 27th of June 2012. The 2012 Edo State governorship debate is brought to you by the Nigerian Election Debates Group, that's the NEDG, with support from INEC and BON. BON member stations are our official broadcasters, Africa Independent Television, that's AIT, and the Nigerian Television Authority, that's the NTA, who are the official production stations for global distribution of the debate signal. While Africa's biggest radio network, Radio Nigeria, is our official radio production station. The Voice of Nigeria broadcasts this debate to our international audience. To our viewers and listeners in Edo State, Nigeria, and across the globe, we say thank you for watching. And in a moment, we are going to do the presentation of the certificates of participation, and I'll be calling on Aremo Taiwo Alimi, the chairman of the Nigerian Election Debates Group, to come and supervise this session. While he's on his way, we ask the candidates to go around once again, have a warm handshake with one another. You did this at the beginning of the election debate. You do that again as we round off this debate. Please go around, shake one another. The spirit of patriotism. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Audience! All right, ladies and gentlemen, may I crave your indulgence to remain seated.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Your Royal Highnesses, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to thank all the 6 candidates who have participated in the first round of the governorship debate in Edo State. We want to thank them most sincerely because they have participated and assisted in the move to have debates as a major component of the democratic process. We commend and thank them very much. The culture of debate internationally and in Nigeria has rules. When the rule says don't talk, don't yell, don't clap when you are inside here, it is to let you know that as a non-participatory audience, you must not destabilize your candidates that are debating. For you to do that, you are showing total disrespect to your candidates. And that is the highlight of indiscipline by anybody. It's high indiscipline. And we must let you know it is not done. And therefore, for the 5th July, final round of the governorship debate by the candidates, this audience will be seriously scrutinized. Political parties and leaders must ensure that they bring decent people to this audience. We do not want semi-thugs and hooligans to be here. The whole world is watching you. This is being transmitted to the whole world. And we must let you know, you don't clap, you don't shout, you don't talk, you listen to the presentation by the candidates. Once again, we commend the candidates because this is a major platform of strengthening democratic process and culture in our country and in Edo State. Edo State, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, is an Edo State of discipline. We must not show otherwise. Once again, with the moderator warning, you must always accept that here we have rules, and the rules must be obeyed. This place is not a campaign rally. Please note that. We want discipline and respect for your candidates. I now call on Dr. Raymond Dokpesi, the major pillar, to present the first certificate to the ACN candidate. The next, ANPP. CPC.
On behalf of the Nigeria Elections Debate Group, it is my honor and privilege to present this certificate of participation to candidate Roland Izebua.
NCP.
On behalf of the Nigeria Elections Debate Group, it is my great honor and privilege to present this certificate of participation to candidate Paul Urunwese. Congratulations.
PDP.
On behalf of the Nigeria Elections Debate Group, it's my honor and privilege to present this certificate to candidate Charles Heyabare,
SDMP.
On behalf of the Nigeria Elections Debate Group, it is my great honor and privilege to present this certificate of participation to candidate Frank Konga.
Thank you.
Again, all audience must remain seated until all the candidates leave the hall. All audience must remain seated and quiet until all the candidates leave the hall. Thank you. And to our viewers and listeners in Edo State, Nigeria, and across the globe, many thanks for watching and for staying with us. Bye for now. All candidates, please, and the audience must remain seated, please. The audience must remain seated.